With the release of 5.0 and Natlan finally being added to Genshin Impact, Hoyo decided to introduce a new mechanic to the game, Nightsoul. Nightsoul is a Natlan-specific mechanic which every Natlan character uses. It is similar to how Fontaine introduced the Numa and Usia mechanic. However, while Numa and Usia did not have significant gameplay impact, this will be different with Nightsoul. There are a few reasons for that, so let's talk about them. Nightsoul is a shared mechanic between every character, and this means why all of them have it. The way of how Nightsoul exactly works is different for each of them. So let's first have a look at the new characters for a rough overview on how this works for them. For Kitchina, after using her skill, she gains Nightsoul points and she enters the Nightsoul Blessing state. While she is in this state, she will gradually consume Nightsoul points depending on her various actions. When reaching 0, said Nightsoul state blessing ends. For Mualani, this works similar. Casting her skill lets her ride her shark, she gains Nightsoul points and enters the Nightsoul blessing state. While riding, she will continuously consume Nightsoul points. Touching an enemy while riding the shark will grant her a stack, and reaching 3 stacks grants her an enhanced normal attack, and said enhanced normal attack will summon a puffer nearby, which can be picked up to restore Nightsoul points. For Kinich, this works slightly differently. Casting his skill allows him to latch onto a target and he enters the Nightsoul state, but this time with 0 points. While he passively generates points while attached, he also gains additional points whenever he performs a normal attack, and when his Nightsoul points are maxed, he can use his skill again to fire Scale Spiker Cannon. So just looking at the information we got from the livestream, the Nightsoul mechanic is heavily integrated into how the Natlan characters' kits work. However, it doesn't end here, because at least up until now, one could argue that this is just part of their kit, and because the mechanic itself can work significantly differently between characters, it is only a glorified system. But we also have the new 2 artifact sacks, and holy hell, they are really good. We finally enter the era of artifact power creep, but with a catch. As we can see, both artifacts do require a character's Nightsoul mechanics. The Nightsoul Burst for the Cinder City set, and a Nightsoul Blessing and Nightsoul Points for Obsidian Codex. This also means these artifacts are basically locked to Natlan characters. Well, kinda. While the Obsidian Codex does require the equipping character to be from Natlan, the support set does not. The 2-piece can be triggered as long as you have any Natlan character in the party, and the 4-piece effect does grant 12% elemental damage bonus regardless, but it is enhanced to 40% if the equipping character is in the Nightsoul Blessing state, which means they need to be from Natlan to gain the enhanced version. And simply because there's a lot of text for no reason on these artifacts, let's also quickly cover what they actually do. The Cinder City artifact set basically provides us 6 energy whenever a Night Burst is triggered, more on that in just a bit, what exactly a Night Burst is, and 12 or 40% party-wide elemental damage bonus when triggering a reaction. And the DPS set is exactly that, it provides insane amounts of damage, a free 30% crit rate, hell yeah, I will take that. So what this basically means is Cinder City is a support set which can be utilized by many characters, but it is the most effective on Natlan supports, and Obsidian Codex is a DPS set which is locked to Natlan only characters. So why are these sets so strong? Well, I probably don't have to explain why 40% free crit rate is really good, so let's straight up continue with Cinder City, because that one might not be as obvious. To understand why even the 2-piece set is extremely valuable, we first have to understand what Nightsoul Burst is. Nightsoul Burst is a mechanic that is triggered by Natlan characters whenever they inflict elemental damage, with a cooldown depending on how many Natlan characters you have in your party. That would be 18, 12 or 9 seconds for 1, 2, 3 Natlan characters respectively. For most supports, that means, given we have 2 Natlan characters in our party, that would be 6 to 12 energy every rotation. Obviously also depends a little bit, well, on your team. For non-Natlan supportive characters that don't make much use of, for example, Noblesse or Millilith, characters such as Cookie, Charlotte, Bennett or even Jan Jung can provide a not insignificant damage bonus this way for our carries. coming pretty close or even slightly ahead of their current artifact set counterparts. And for characters like Mona, who have massive energy requirements, the 2-piece bonus is also pretty incredible. Even for some Natlan characters like Kachina, who, to be honest, don't look that useful or great, kit-wise at least as of right now, being able to provide a 40% elemental damage bonus to your carries seems very good, and that inherently makes Kachina a possibly strong unit, just by being able to use the new set to its full potential. And that brings us back to the title of this video. So why does the Nightsoul mechanic change how we play or how we think about Genshin Impact? Well, there are multiple reasons for that, with the first being that Toyo is not afraid anymore for adding region-specific mechanics to characters to the point of where they play an integral role in their kits and are not just an overworld exploration gimmick anymore. Secondly, with artifact sets now possibly being limited to characters with only specific mechanics, if they continue doing so going forwards, that streamlines artifact builds even more, especially given possible power creep. Obsidian Codex is already extremely strong, and while limiting an artifact this strong to only new characters is great in the sense of we do not have to refarm the set for our old characters, it also means that these new characters have a clear go-to artifact set to build with even possible less variation, at least if the trend of being stronger than unlimited sets continues. And that directly translates into the third point. With artifacts being so strong that even characters who do not have much going for them, such as Kachina for example, are possibly considered viable, at least in regards to the meta, goes against everything we have so far. We have had artifact sets which gave older characters a boost, such as the Golden Trope set for Fischl for example, but these characters' kits have never been bad or whatever to begin with. Now we have a character who has, well aside from summoning a construct, really nothing in her kit which makes her special, suddenly being viable simply because they can use said artifact set. And if even the 12% boost can be considered competitive on other non-Natlan characters such as Cookie, Charlotte or Bennett, although to be fair for the latter we do still have the instructor set for vape teams, one can only imagine what a 40% boost must look like, especially when used on a character who maybe brings even more to the team than just said set. So yeah, all of that leaves me personally cautiously optimistic on how artifacts and new mechanics may or may not define on how we not only build our characters, but also possibly our teams. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching the video. If you have already watched the entire video anyway, why not leave me a like and a comment on your thoughts about Natlan and the new artifacts. Don't forget to subscribe for more Genshin Impact content, and I wish you a great day. Peace.